Once again, our planet is being struck by major earthquakes, severe floods in places like Hong Kong and Libya, dams bursting at their seams from floodwaters, major cyber attacks, and governments that are literally totally losing control. So much to talk about today. I hope that you are all doing well. And to start off our talk today, let's talk about first, I had visions of dams bursting at their seams. In my visions, I saw waters and floodwaters being responsible for a dam burst. And not only did we have one, sadly, there were two. Two totally different countries on totally different days, but all within a few days of each other. First, in Greece, a whole town, a whole neighborhood was completely submerged in water. Wait until you see the footage of this. It is mind-blowing. Not only that, in Libya, they had the same experience with a major dam bursting. Wild footage that I'm going to show you of that as well. So what's going on here? Is this going to become a common thing in the future? Dams bursting? Does it have something or everything to do with the infrastructures not being fixed or repaired because these money-hungry globalists are just sucking up all the money for themselves? Because it's basically what's happening. And could there be some sabotage involved in the breaking of dams? Including, as I said in the past, the Hoover Dam right here in the United States of America. Spirit told us about cyber attacks, right? Major cyber attacks, and this is nothing. What just happened is nothing compared to what's to come, according to Spirit. But what just came was in Viva Las Vegas. MGM Resorts was completely shut down, and people couldn't get in their rooms. How horrible would that be if you were on vacation and you couldn't get in your room and you needed to get in your room? Maybe you have to go potty or something, I don't know, but like that wouldn't be fun. Sadly, a major earthquake hit, again, several actually. This particular one, as you know, hit Morocco. During this energy shift that we are in, that Spirit told us was going to happen, that we would witness another massive quake similar to Turkey. That's exactly what they witnessed in Morocco, unfortunately, losing over 2,100 lives so far. The time, depending on where at on the planet you were, the time this occurred was at 11:11. Some people say, there's no coincidence there. While in Northern California, they just seen a 5.0 earthquake. Spirit just told us recently that they were going to get a small earthquake, but this would be followed by floods. So are the floods on the horizon right now for Northern California? Likely, if this is the same quake that Spirit told us would bring on these series of events. So a warning to Northern California. Indonesia and the poor folks there are just being pounded. One thing after another. Storms, floods, but even more so recent earthquakes in Indonesia, which Spirit told us that a series of quakes in Indonesia would unleash a whole bunch of global events. So has that time arrived? Is that what just happened with these quakes in Indonesia? Is that going to unleash a series of events that Spirit told us was going to happen? Some being weather related, but others being related to government, countries, and so forth? I'm going to say, yeah, likely so. It would kind of match up perfectly with previous predictions where we talked about what was going to happen. And it all matches, and I'll tell you why today. I'll share it all with you, beautiful friends, today. So what about Hurricane Lee? Should anybody be concerned? Because, we know that hurricanes happen to come with steering wheels nowadays. So even more so, not even just Lee, but we have others in what comes after Lee. So are there anybody or anyone that's in danger of these severe storms, and especially the hurricanes? Remember, I did warn our friends in Hong Kong who were just recently nailed with massive floods. And that footage, I'll show you too, is literally apocalyptic as well. Crazy weather events that are happening all over. A series of protests are now being formed, likely by the Soros group, according to Spirit, here in the United States. And they're here to protest the immigrants and the immigration, which is a massive problem. And it's not just here, it's other countries too. So if the United States starts to form these protests, you're going to see them in other countries, which probably is happening, but they just don't show us in the media. So is this some kind of inside plan to bring about more division? And what are the results going to actually be? Remember I said a while way back earlier this year, kind of remember my wording, that there'd be new movements that would begin to form. One being a huge movement. Could this be it? Or could it be something else? Likely it's something else, but that thought just popped into my mind. I never thought it could be possible, or have you ever thought it'd be possible, to actually have a demon in your drink? That's right. A demon infused into your drink through dark magic and darkness and ceremony. Yes. I kid you not, my friends. Now there is a drink infused with demons and dark magic ceremony. This is actually an unbelievable fact that you're going to want to hear. And I want to know, would you allow your kids to drink it? Because they probably will, just because of the marketing ploy behind it. Infusing stuff with dark arts. Now that they tell us they're doing that, it makes you wonder how long they already been doing it. Because when they tell us they're going to do something, it's because they already done it. Just saying. Just saying. Speaking of mysteries, the mystery of Bermuda Triangle has been solved, apparently, by a TikToker. I spoke about the Devil's Triangle, as Bermuda Triangle is also known as the Devil's Triangle, and I spoke about that in my visions that I did in my channeled predictions when I was in trance meditation. I don't recall what I said. When I'm in a channeled trance state, it's hard to remember those things, so somebody could fill us in the comments down below. But I did mention things about the Bermuda Triangle. Someone also commented below in the comments, I think last week, that a plane went down in the Bermuda Triangle. So is that true? And what exactly is this mystery that they claim to have solved? It's a good one. You want to see this one. The launch of an impeachment inquiry in the United States here. Just launched, I believe, today. But will it actually stick? Probably not. Could this actually just be a part of the coming shakings and the big shakes of America and the shakings globally that Spirit's been telling us is going to happen, much of it this month? So we're going to talk about that, along with a warning from an African leader about your money. And even though it was in Africa, that warning stands for everybody. A warning that you're going to want to hear today on this episode number 82 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Updates. I am Tittle, this is my tea, and we're ready to go. Lots of stuff to cover today. I welcome you to my channel and back to my channel. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT. This is my yummy positive energy tea. And if you're new to this channel and you like the content and you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, baby, you found the perfect tribe. Please smash that there subscribe. I want to thank all my supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. The people that are members of the community down below, the members of my Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community, and all those, even if you're just a member of a tribe, by smashing that subscribe, I am grateful to you and wouldn't be spending all the time on this content if it weren't for all of you. So thank you with infinite love and gratitude. Down below, you'll find the link to my newsletter. So do click on that newsletter, open that baby up. It's free. Subscribe to it so you can see what's going on. You won't miss any content. You'll get monthly messages and inspirational messages, upcoming master classes, and so much more. Other than that, let us move on to the world of earthquakes, because everything's shaking right now, friends. But actually, before that, too. So today's the 12th, September 12th here, live in Sedona, Arizona, and it is just afternoon time here. And some people on the other side of the planet, it is Wacky Wednesday. So a happy Wacky Wednesday to our friends on the other side of the planet, and a happy Taco Tea Time Tuesdays to the rest of you. The new moon's coming up in a couple days. So we're coming to the end of that heavy energy, which hasn't been really that bad, but everybody handles things differently. This retrograde happens to be in retrograde with Virgo and the energy shift with Virgo. I'm Virgo. Usually we're ones affected the most, and maybe some Virgos were. But I'm flowing through this and riding this wave like a pro surfer, and I hope you are too. So recently I warned the Philippines of earthquakes And this morning, actually, the Philippines received a pretty strong 6.2 earthquake. And sadly, you're probably already aware of the fact that more than 2,100 lives have been lost in the massive earthquake that hit Morocco. A while back, I had a vision, if you recall, of a big crack going through the continent of Africa. And I had that vision a while ago. I don't know how long ago, but I told you about that several times. So is this the beginning? Actually, that's what Spirit says. This cracking in half of the African continent will also even include the cracking in half of North America as well eventually. But that's down the line a bit. I wouldn't get all worried about any of it because there's nothing you can do when it comes to weather and Mother Earth. Just live your day and celebrate it each and every day. But Spirit does say that this earthquake that just hit Morocco is the beginning of events and coming events that will eventually lead to the cracking of that continent and splitting apart of that continent. And that might not play out for a few years, and it might not even completely play out to the year 2029, which is going to be the year to watch. Because 2029, I have redetermined that could be the other option for the beginning of tribulation. I did a video on tribulation, the year 2025 to 2032. So that period, I felt 2025 to 2032 still could very well be the time of tribulation, of course. Although today my strong feelings indicate that 2025, whether it starts tribulation or not, is actually going to be the year when the real big world conflict breaks out. World conflict and the use of tactical nukes. I do, however, hope that I am completely wrong. But, keep our fingers crossed and stay to prayer, meditation, and ceremony. 2029, now I have a second conclusion that it's either 2025 or 2029 that it starts. Now, if you want to know why 2029, you're going to have to watch the video that will be premiering later on this week. My Hopi Blue Star Kachina prophecy. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called in the title, but you're going to want to not miss that. I will tell you exactly why that I determined that if it's not 2025, it's definitely 100% 2029, which may actually be more likely the case, and I was wrong with my first feeling, but not completely wrong, because Spirit told me 2025 to 2032 would be when humanity faces biggest crisis, which you can call that tribulation, call it what you want, but again, that's what Spirit showed me. I forgot to put my computer on Do Not Disturb. My apologies for the ding ding. Earthquake activity is pretty hot right now, as Spirit told us it would be during the energy shift. It always is. And we have those powerful new moon cycle that's coming up in just a few days. Both the new moon, but also the end of that Mercury retrograde direct energy cycle. Now keep in mind, we still go into that post-shadow till the end of the month, so hang in there. But that big just of that hit with Mercury retrograde ends the day of the full moon. Also, the end of our energy shift. So all those conclude in just a couple days. But, things always do go out with a bang. Just saying. Things go out with a bang. So now through the 16th, because Spirit did tell us to pay attention to right before and right after this new moon. I said that, I think, in my September predictions. So that would be today, the 12th, to approximately the 16th, 2 days before, 2 days after. Remember, the other period of time I told you to be very aware of is the 19th through the 24th, that whole in between. The dates the 22nd and the 29th as well. I'm not clear why. Perhaps this could be earthquake related still, but I'm not sure. But Spirit, I did some map scrying this morning. Spirit pulled me directly to the Philippine Sea. So I went into the Philippine Sea, and I felt like I was along the edge of both the Philippine Sea and the Pacific Ocean. I saw a small earthquake. You can't see an earthquake necessarily if it's underwater, but I felt an earthquake. Our Spirit showed me as I was map scrying a small earthquake in between those two areas, between the Philippine Sea and the Pacific Ocean. A small one, though, which would also unleash small enough to unleash a small tsunami is what I had the visions of. And it looked like the ripple effect, going in all directions. So I would say that the smaller of the wave will hit the beaches of Hawaii, which might just reach the streets. And the bigger waves would hit and impact places like Taiwan, Guam, and the Philippines. Hopefully, again, from my vision, it appeared small to me. Especially, I did see it hitting what I believe was Hawaii, but it just looked like a huge wave that, again, will wet people if they're close enough to the water, but I didn't really necessarily feel like people were being sucked into it. Not there anyway. So I would warn, again, those places. And then also, Pakistan jumped out at me on the map as well. So I would expect Pakistan to also be hit once again, because I think they were just within the past 6 months, but being hit again by a very significant earthquake. And I have more predictions when it comes to earthquakes and all later on as we move further on. Let's talk about hurricanes for a moment, because we are at peak time of hurricane season. And actually, that peak time was actually September 10th, so it was a couple of days ago. And as you know, we have Hurricane Lee out at sea, building strength, and no one really seems to know where it's going. But I warned in my May predictions, if you go back to weather predictions, I said to be alert between Hurricane Lee and Hurricane Sean. I'm pretty sure it was Sean, but I said Hurricane Lee first. So, not that Hurricane Lee, I said that window of hurricanes, that time period from Lee to Sean would be the time to watch. So, Lee, to me, could actually fulfill my prediction, my visions of what I saw for New York City. Regardless, Lee is no doubt going to become a monster storm, and it will eventually make landfall as well. Then we also have Hurricane Margot. It was another one that jumped out at me. Margot and Nigel, because they're both 11 storms as far as the numerology is concerned. Now, it looks like Margot won't touch land at all, and I'm not sure whether Nigel formed yet or not, but Nigel would be another one to look forward to, and I would not at all, you shouldn't be shocked at all to see Florida get hit again. And remember what Spirit showed us about steering hurricanes. Here it is here, steering hurricanes. Remember, Spirit told us that they would use technology to slam a storm directly towards Florida, which is exactly what Adalia did. Right there. Spirit also warned us, if you recall, that storms would also come with a steering wheel. I thought Spirit was funny when they said that. Storms come with steering wheels, which would potentially hit both Cuba and Puerto Rico. So still places. We have plenty of season left, friends. Plenty of season remaining. Remember, Hurricane Sandy didn't come till October 29th. Yeah, I know that's late. Just saying. So we got well over probably a good 6 weeks of strong activity still ahead of us, and the strongest yet to come, I believe. So also, speaking of monster storms, not just for the Atlantic either, but I also got pulled today to the west coast of Mexico and California. And speaking of Mexico, I also want to put out a warning to Mexico City of a coming earthquake in the near future. That could be pretty significant. I'm not sure how near, but that just jumped out at me as I was channeling information from the spirits today. So a warning to Mexico City. I will say to keep a close eye on Lee, for sure. Keep a close eye on Lee for several good reasons. Again, going back to my weather predictions and to watch closely Lee from Sean. But also, Lee could be the one that ends up heading up towards New York. And that could be where we could see another Hurricane Sandy incident, if you know what I mean. Slam it right into New York. Remember my visions I had of New York? Totally, I had visions of dark clouds coming in. I was standing behind the Statue of Liberty when I saw these dark clouds coming in. Then I saw streets that basically looked like rivers. So it's probably Lee. Or what comes next? Because again, we got 6 weeks. So much more can develop still. And I see something pretty significant developing in the Southern Caribbean Sea. So the Southern Caribbean Sea will bring some kind of system that's going to flood several of the islands. One of these is going to develop a tropical storm, potentially a hurricane, but I see issues along the coast of the Carolinas as well in the United States. So likely something is coming from the system moving out of the Caribbean that's coming up and hitting the East Coast. It could be just tropical storm though, but really bringing flooding and problems for the Carolinas. Maybe even Alabama, because Alabama just popped in my brain right now. All right, dam breaks. This is kind of crazy, friends. I'm out of tea. It's a tragedy. So y'all surely will recall my past visions of dams bursting. One of those visions, I saw pounding waters from the weather, of course, being the culprit. Who would have actually thought that this would have been two of them back to back in completely different countries, starting with the country of Libya and then finishing with Greece. I don't know if it's that order. I actually think I got it backwards, and dyslexia got it backwards. But sadly, let's talk about Morocco for a second. And over 2,100 folks completely. Storm Daniel wreaks havoc across Libya, with 2,000 people feared past, as devastating floods break dams and sweep away neighborhoods. Storm Daniel has wreaked havoc, with 2,000 people feared, currently missing, we'll say, because we don't know, they're missing. And the floods broke dams and swept away neighborhoods. Worst hit was the city of Derna in eastern Libya. Very sad for them people in that area, Libya. So check out this footage from Libya, actually. Here's some of the footage from Libya of the floods and literally the raging waters from the dam. You can literally see cars and homes being completely swept away. And prayers to the folks there, prayers to the folks in Morocco, and prayers to the whole entire planet, because it really needs it. And then we move on to our poor friends in Greece. And the photos and footage of that is pretty striking as well. Entire Greek town is submerged in floodwaters after a dam bursts. Leaving survivors and even dogs stranded on rooftops. Yeah, that's sad. I'll show you that in a second. An entire Greek town was submerged in the floodwaters after a dam burst amid devastating storms. It was in Palamas, and the mayor told them that there were dozens of people trapped on their flooded homes, on their rooftops, with pets, in the Metamorphose village. Crazy. What's even crazier is this footage right here. We have this footage right here that shows the floodwaters hitting the country of Greece, and these caused, again, the dam to breach, but at the same time, the neighborhood's completely submerged, and you see the little poor dog on top of the roof looking confused. You see the disturbing footage of somebody just on their roof spinning around, and you see all the rooftops popping out of the murky waters. Very sad to the people there as well, and prayers to them, and hopefully they all pan out to be okay and everything's okay for them. But obviously there's some weather-related breaches, and Spirit says that this is going to become common ground, unfortunately, over the next few years, especially in places where the infrastructures are completely being ignored. They're not being properly maintained at the same time, as well as at least as well as they should be maintained. That includes the Hoover Dam here in the United States. In the United States, I've said it before, and I know that that's actually a planned event in their playbook. I don't know when they're going to launch that plan, but that's one of their plans in their playbook, which I also had visions, if you recall, of one being blown up, which unfortunately we did see occur in the UKR because of the conflict there. So this same thing goes for visions. I still see more being blown up in the future, not necessarily near future. It's more of infrastructure collapses that's going to become so common ground over the next 2 years that the storms that we receive and the things that are coming, these dams aren't going to be able to hold them. They're not built correctly or whatever, or they're not maintained either correctly. So a lot of them are so old that they're just would need to be rebuilt according to the spirits. Speaking of dams and water, did you see in Europe, Poseidon has arrived? That's right. Poseidon has arrived. Spirit showed me a vision of, I'll tell you about that in a minute, but let me tell you about this prediction, because Spirit showed me a vision of Europe literally being buried under a blanket of snow. And I felt like I had a bit of panic and a bit of butterflies when I suddenly was there freezing and the power failed. And in my vision, I was wrapped up in all these blankets, as many as I could, trying to keep warm. And I feel like this is something that'll probably likely occur at the turn of the new year in 2024 between January and February. But Spirit also showed me that this is going to bring about a series of major events that felt kind of conflict related to me. So that's what we got to keep an eye out for, whether it's this coming season or maybe even the next season. But that big, huge, major storm that blankets Europe. And that's when an attack or something happens. Speaking of storms, here's some cool, interesting symbolism and going back to Poseidon. So this is pretty deep in symbolism if you ask me. So let me pull up this article here and show you this article. It's pretty wild, friends. It's pretty wild. You're going to like this because it's very extremely symbolic. A photographer captures an epic storm, and this is from Epic News. An epic storm waves, and one of them is in the shape of Poseidon wearing his crown. Now, check that out. That is pretty damn cool, wouldn't you say? That photographer is amazing. And what's the photographer's name? We're going to give them the French photographer who films the ocean, has captured this breathtaking photo, and he is a former engineer, Mathieu Riveren, age 34. And he is a full-time photographer living in the commune of Landerneau. Interesting. But as we go further down, I mean, look at that. Wild, friends. Wild. This guy is a great photographer. I mean, some of the waves in this is just amazing. And, this is definitely 100% very, very symbolic. I would say it's extremely symbolic. There's no coincidences, right? So think about this, because I put it all together for my beautiful friends today. The Poseidon is the god of the underworld and of the sea, right? And showing up off the waters off the coast of France. I looked it up, and this is when I started map scrying, actually, this morning. Poseidon is also known as the god of both horses. I never knew that. I learned that one. And earthquakes. Earthquakes, friends. Earthquakes. And the god of the waters in the underworld, right? And he's busting out from the underworld, out of those waters in that picture. So, could this actually be a warning for a massive earthquake? And if so, earthquake and a tsunami would be the biggest guess because they go hand in hand. Poseidon, the god of the underworld and of the waters, he's busting out from the ocean in the picture, right? And he's also the god of earthquakes. So, and there's more to it. So think about this. So could this be a warning for France? Or more likely, my feeling was a large earthquake or even a volcanic eruption that would be coming to the Greek islands. Our poor friends are being pounded there as is. But again, Poseidon is a Greek god who ruled over the Greek islands in southern Italy. So places like Crete, Athens could be at a great risk, which could also be a place where some of my previous visions of islands sinking due to earthquake activity that could actually be there, right, in the Greek islands, and one of them sinking from an earthquake. But this could also be a sign that a major earthquake is coming to southern Italy. So not only that, I forgot to bring that. Let me bring up my map real quick. Bring up my map of Italy. Where are you, Italy? There you are. So I don't know how vulnerable they would be for a tsunami, for the two to go hand in hand. Again, we're interpreting, the whole Poseidon thing here, right? No doubt that's what we're interpreting. Now, this photo was taken in the far eastern tip of France. So basically, if you draw a straight line down from the country Wales to the tip of France, I mean, that's where we're looking at on the map here. That's where the guy was from. That's where he took the picture, which makes me feel like something huge is actually going to hit between France and Ireland, that whole little cove right there. Perhaps 7 more so. Hold on. getting information. You're overwhelming my brain, spirits. Ireland. So between France and Ireland, again, something hitting between France and Ireland. Perhaps this could be even more so focused on the in-between, which would be United Kingdom and England. It could be all of them, that whole little cove, like I said there. But if we were to go directly in the middle from where this guy took the photo, we're looking at something between the United Kingdom and England at the same time. Not necessarily earthquake related, but something big, and of course something related to the weather. Whether it be something water related, because Poseidon, and related to the oceans, so again, maybe even a tsunami, and then earthquake related. Both those things are in the meaning of Poseidon. This could also bring about the strong possibility of a large earthquake happening in the upper Atlantic Ocean. That would actually bring about a huge tsunami very close to the area of Morocco. In turn, hitting Spain, Portugal, France, perhaps even parts of Ireland. Because I say Morocco only because if you look at the map, they're not that far away. They might be maybe on the same fault lines. I don't know. I didn't really look at that. But that came into my mind. And I tell you everything that comes into my mind. So France also already has its hands full. What am I saying? For a while with protests. And basically, it's been a hot mess there in France for a while in 2023. But this brings me back to a past vision that I had for Paris in the Eiffel Tower. We're probably closing in on this prediction, actually. But remember, Spirit showed me some type of attacks occurring in France. This takes me to my next topic, Paris attacks. Not sure if it's related, but I saw a vision of a huge explosion. Several, actually. And when I saw this explosion, I heard 3 loud bangs simultaneously, like going off in 3 different spots at the same time. And I saw a vision of what looked to me like a small cafe with little seats and little tables out front. And I saw the glass blowing out from this cafe or whatever this little place was. Although I, again, felt 3 shakings, which kind of confused me a little bit. This would make me believe that perhaps there's actually at least 3 of these events happening, perhaps all set on timers. That was what it kind of felt more like to me. Set on timers of some sort, or somebody's looking at their watch, making sure that they all go off at the same time. Hopefully, again, this does not occur, and I'm completely wrong, hopefully. I'd rather be wrong. But if and when it does occur, remember the date Spirit was showing me. Pay attention to the date and the time for whatever reason. The exact time is what really jumped out for me. There's some kind of significance in that. So we'll have to see. Which takes me to the Taliban. Haven't heard about them in a long time, right? Because there's so much stuff going on, they're not telling you this other stuff. Spirit was showing me visions that reminded me of the radicals over there, if you know what I mean. Such as people like the ISIS, baby, for example, which we don't really hear much about anymore. But Spirit warns me that they're actually there and they've been growing into a huge army. And I saw a vision of their black and white flags waving, and I hear them cheering and waving arsenal in the air. So this was a vision I had, and they were all like gathered together with their little, what are they, Toyota's trucks with them. And I had this vision, they're waving their flags and waving their arsenal. I don't know what to make of this exactly, but waving it like that makes me feel like obviously that they were celebrating something. I don't know what they could be celebrating, but I'm sure it's not something we would be celebrating. So something is coming from these radicals, and not just in France. Spirit gave me a strong feeling that this is going to be a major global threat. The Taliban also came to mind. Taliban, which this is I thought it was a bit surprising to me, actually, because you just don't really hear about it. But I just listen to what my spirits tell me and want me to share with you. And I feel some kind of threat, some kind of major event involving the Taliban. Potentially the Taliban, along with the other radicals, in some type of takeover and other major threat. I also see, major quake Afghanistan, Spirit just yelled at me. Major quake in Afghanistan. Major shaking in Afghanistan. I'm getting that right now. It's not in my notes. Speaking of notes, somebody said that people with their rude comments. Well, you're reading. Why do you write things down? Because this isn't a channeled predictions. And I work very hard on preparing this and seeing what's going on in the world and how it matches up with predictions and prophecy. And then someone else left a comment last week. Oh, well, don't stop talking about the news and put out predictions. Well, if you got a problem with my Tuesday show, why are you watching? If you want all predictions, then go to the monthly predictions. Go to the channeled predictions. We do predictions every Tuesday. But at the same time, this is what Tuesday's show is. This is why you all come and hang out with the tribe every Tuesday. So going back to these Taliban. Oh, major quake in Afghanistan. Well, being Spirit just like yelled at, and not only just a quake, a shaking. So again, in predictions, even in prophecy, sometimes they might sound like the same, but they could be completely different. An earthquake could be an event that shakes up a country, right? Not necessarily an actual physical earthquake. No, it's an earthquake, said Spirit. Nope, they're getting an earthquake. I love my guides. They love to have a good sense of humor. Nope, they're getting it. Anyway, going back to the radicals over there, I also saw a series of missile strikes taking place somewhere over in the Middle East, but I'm not sure where. Being that right prior to that, I was tuned into the Taliban and all them, I would think it would have something to do with those areas, especially maybe Afghanistan, because again, Spirit just said they're getting a big quake. But for some reason, I see some type of missile strikes and attacks happening in the Middle East. And whatever it was, it felt surprising to me for some reason. It felt like a big surprise. Likely because it's going to surprise all of us. Like cyber attacks. That Spirit warned us was going to happen. Not that anybody can guess there's going to be a cyber attack, but what exact is going to be the cyber attack, which we're going to talk about. Spirit warned us that we were going to witness a series of cyber attacks. Some being huge, while, some not being so huge. And, well, maybe you don't know. I said it earlier, but Viva Las Vegas. MGM was shut down completely by cyber attacks. That's right. I don't know if they found any information out about it, but MGM Resorts in Las Vegas was hit by a major cyber attack and guests were locked out of their rooms. Where is it? The FBI is investigating. Major hotel and casino resort company was hit by a devastating cyber attack nationwide, with a number of properties actually impacted. I didn't know that part. I didn't actually read the article to know. Several properties. Sites owned by the MGM Resorts International, Nevada's largest employer, reportedly had a security breach earlier today. Casino industry chatter site Vital Vegas said the attack was so devastating because MGM Resorts has about 48,000 rooms on the Strip of Vegas. And everything from slot machines, room keys, ATMs, and reservations have all been affected. See, that's the problem when people are all about digital and internet. But, when we start to approach the time of 2029 and the year 2036, that window of time, it's going to be a problem when it comes to internet because it's going to cease to exist eventually in the way we know it today. Don't know when, but probably that window of time. And if, again, you want to know more about that, watch the video that's going to premiere in a couple days. I'm not sure what I'm going to title it, but you're not going to want to miss that video. Going back to the cyber attacks in Vegas, I told you Vegas is going to have major problems. Speaking of which, Spirit's showing me a vision now of a big fire in Vegas. It's being set, says Spirit. And it looks like big building. Starts out on a lower building, like a smaller building, but it grows up high. So probably a casino resort would be my assumption. Hopefully it's not another HURICNE happening in Vegas. That's very possible. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Except, they target, of course, the people that, the natives and all. So that's what they did to the people in HURICNE. They should be ashamed of themselves. This world, my friends, this world, so wonderful and so awful, both at the same time. That's why you got to focus on the wonderful. So going back to hacking, because I see a huge internet outage that's coming of sometime in the near future. First, I see a kill switch Spirit was showing me. There's a kill switch, and I know they have these in certain countries, probably every country, but they have a kill switch. They hit the button and you can't access the internet. In several countries, they're going to hit that kill switch. I don't know why and I don't know when, but they're going to hit that kill switch. Likely associated with Europe, of course. I believe it has to do with Europe, Germany, and all the warnings that I sent to places like Belize, Germany, a bunch of others. It's likely over there. Oh, my tummy's growling. It's past lunchtime. I see major outages of internet platforms on a global scale, and I mean places like Facebook and all of its affiliates. And even a large spread outage for AT&T and Verizon. That's here in the United States, but this is also going to include Canadian cellular outages. And I don't know what your company names are over there in Canada or outside of the United States anywhere, actually, on that matter. But Spirit said Canadian cellular outages and really odd power outages. Now, I don't know what a odd power outage is necessarily when Spirit says odd power outages. What's odd? Power outages can be odd as it. Oh, I guess if it's no weather, bad weather, we would expect power outages. Odd would be a beautiful day and all the power goes out for 5, 6, 10 hours, 2 days, whatever. But odd power outages, and I think that's up in Canada, actually. It's probably here too, but Canada. I'm going to say Canada. Just as the cold begins flowing in, Spirit said. Our friends in Australia, mate, is in for huge outages as well. Some on purpose, purposely targeted outages to disconnect people from communication. So actually, now that I think about it, that's probably where one of the internet kill switches will occur in Australia. Something's happening and they want to disconnect us from communicating with each other. That's what their kill switch is for. So I don't know what's happening over there in Australia, but be aware. Don't be alarmed if you can't, your power goes out, your internet and anything else with your social media goes out. But these are going to be huge things that are coming in the way of some of these coming outages, both power and internet, will actually be a result of a major attack, a hack attack, a cyber attack. I don't know which one. I'm not saying that's Australia. It's probably Europe again, actually. Germany hacked on their power grid. Well, we know Russia's probably doing that. And if not, we'll blame them anyway. Somebody's got to take the blame, man. Somebody's got to take the blame. All right, moving right along. Speaking of major attacks, Spirit shows me that China is up to something. Should we be surprised at all by that? China is up to something when it comes to hacks as well. Both Taiwan and India both came to my mind. China is itching to start a conflict, Spirit said. They're like itching to start a conflict, but they're waiting for the perfect optimum opportunity to blame someone else for them beginning a new conflict. So people, they'll do something. They're itching though. Spirit said they're itching for conflict because their country's collapsing. That's why. Just like everyone in the world, pretty much. But Spirit showed me visions of Chinese troops on the run. Like almost like the alarm sirens are being sounded and everybody's rushing to their airplanes into the lines. I had a vision of that with Chinese troops. And I also saw them lining up somewhere. It felt like some border to me, probably a Chinese border, likely India. Remember what Spirit told us a while ago? Oh, didn't mean to hit that with my hand. That China would launch multiple attacks at once, which some people will say is not really a good military strategy. But what if it is? And I wasn't sure where, but I felt like, and not all necessarily the same day, but all within a short window of time. Those people they're ruthless. That's where the devil lives, right there. One of them. There's many demons, but one of them lives in China. One of the fallen angels is over there in China. So once again, I want to warn our friends that are holders of cryptocurrency. I warned you before, and I am warning you again that, as I did in the past, I warned people to get out of the cryptocurrencies and look what happened. People lost millions and millions of dollars because of Sam Fraud. I call him Fraud. Isn't it Freud or whatever his name is? But Sam Fraud. That dude took everybody's money. I told you that was going to happen, and it did. Well, Spirit says today to tell your tribe that it's going to happen again. And people are going to lose millions again. This is going to happen again very soon. Likely in October, and I say October. It could happen by the end of this month. Don't rule out the end of this month. I'm going to say October because October is an 8 vibrational month. The 8 is all about money and finances. It makes sense. I said that. Next year is an 8 year, which would also be an influence. Whatever happens, and that's another thing to think of. Whatever happens in October, in general, always is a reflection on what we're going to see in the coming year. Because the October vibration is the same as the coming year. So again, example, October is an 8 vibration universally for the month. Next year is an 8 vibration for the year universally. So, you always want your October, even on a personal level, you want October to be your best month so that next year you're going to be great. If you have a really crappy October, chances are you're going to have a really crappy next year. We have to watch the economy and what happens in October because that's going to be a total influence as to what we can expect next year. One of those things is the United States currency going down the tubes, and that'll probably be before we even get to January 1st of 2024. It might even just happen in January 2024. Stock up, friends. Buy what you can. I wish I could buy more right now. That's one thing I'm wishing, thanking the spirits. Bring me more. I need to stock up more. It feels like an urgency to me right now. Not just here in the United States, but everybody. So again, a warning to our friends with cryptocurrency. Be careful. Don't leave all your money sitting in there or you will lose it and then you'll regret it. So back to the United States. Anyone that's grounded, anybody that's awake, will know that something huge is brewing and coming to the United States. The entire globe, really, for that matter, but also the United States. United States, of course, rings freedom. Freedom is what the globalists are slowly eating away at. That's what they don't want. And it's obvious that the dollar, again, is collapsing and the United States is in for a rough ride. Remember a while back, I saw some type of disruption and walkout when it came to the Senate. Remember, I saw a disruption, a walkout, people just getting up and leaving the Senate, and a breaking apart of the Senate. But also, there's a breaking apart of the whole United States Senate. And being that popped up again today, I feel like this is already happening. We're just not seeing it happen. We're not, of course, obviously, they're not walking out, but the whole breakup of the Senate is already happening. It's already separating. The puzzle pieces are separating from each other. So if they're separating already, it wouldn't be that much longer before we see some type of walkout and something big happening in the Senate here in the United States. So I couldn't put a finger on the time period, but it must be coming up. So also I saw, if you remember, a couple years ago, I saw United States being divided. So not only the Senate and the Senate breaking apart, which I've seen not within the past year, but a couple years ago, I saw United States being separated into different unions. It's different parts grouped together. Not necessarily all the states being separated, but several states grouped together separating. Kind of like a union of some sort where, I can't explain it other than that way. So I know the United States is already becoming divided. And recently I had a vision, if you remember, of a star falling off the flag. At first, I thought maybe, it was Hawaii or Alaska being taken over, like maybe by China or something. Which is still very, very possible, right? Very plausible that could happen. The more I thought about it, the more I believe Spirit is actually showing us what I said years ago. States are going to begin to drop out of the Union of the United States, separating into their own separate colony of some sort. That's what's going to happen. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's better our states take care of us instead of our federal government, because our federal government has just got us bent over on the table with a baseball bat in their hand, if you know what I mean. Oh, it's so true, though. It's just like, yep. So also, going back to the United States, I feel like there are many great shakings coming to the United States, and again globally, not just the United States, but Here in the States, I feel like the shaking is coming directly from Mother Earth herself. Not just a shaking of events, an earthquake of events. I also was feeling a shaking of the continent. And as much as I feel like California, and we talk about California all the time, is going to be hit with the huge quake, we know it's going to come eventually, keep saying it, which it will. But Spirit showed me today a vision of a bullseye, a target bullseye, right over the continent of North America, mainly United States, pointing directly to the center of the United States. So I don't know what's happening in the center of the United States. If I were to guess, I was trying to figure it out today with my vision and matching it up with the map, I would guess it would be perhaps between Kansas and Nebraska. And again, this may not be in 2023, but definitely 2024. A huge shaking right in the center of the country. And that's a physical shaking. So that's an actual earthquake. Speaking of earthquakes, so this just got this article a little while ago. I thought I'd interest you with this, or maybe not, because I have lots of people that are out of country. So is Biden going to be out as I predicted he will be? And he will be. He'll be gone by the end of this year, I guarantee you. So, but will it be through impeachment? And would this actually be better for America? Could it actually be worse for America? Because we got to consider whether you like the guy or not. Like, could it be actually worse if he were to leave? Just saying. You got to look at all potential possibilities. McCarthy launches an impeachment inquiry on the POTUF. Kevin McCarthy announced on September 12th that the House will open an impeachment inquiry to investigate the possible involvement and business dealings and yada, the whole story. House Republicans have uncovered, and this is what I thought was interesting, uncovered serious, incredible allegations into their conduct. Taken together, these allegations paint a picture of a culture of corruption. So, interesting. But here's the thing that's even more interesting is nothing will the same thing that happened to DT with the impeachment, it'll go the same exact way. It's just not going to happen. Doesn't mean he's not leaving, though. That's the thing. I'm being shown today a vision of the family, all of them, the whole little JB family. And in that vision, Spirit showed me the scales of justice and the symbol of the tarot card justice, like imprinted over top of the picture. It's like basically the scales over the picture of the family. And now, I don't know if it was the whole family. I'm sure their family's big, but it was a majority of the ones anyway, in the vision. And actually, there were a couple in my vision I didn't know. I don't know who they are. I don't really follow all that stuff. But in that vision, so this again, we have to interpret this, regardless of what you may think of this person or whatever. We're all about interpreting the predictions and prophecy. Aside of all the political mumbo jumbo, who cares? Let's just interpret what Spirit tells us. So regardless of who's right or who's wrong, or who likes the guy or who does not like the guy, I take this that Spirit's going to, or not Spirit, but justice is going to be served one way or another. So, to me, you can make all judgments you want and you shouldn't make any judgments at all until the actual truth and justice is served, and it shall be served according to what Spirit showed me with this vision. I don't know in what way. I have no idea. Again, I'm not going to judge. I'm going to just sit back and watch this play out because it's going to play out. This brings me to the protests that are being formed here in the U.S., the immigration protest, which is happening in other countries. We don't see it here in the United States because they don't tell us what's going on in the world, the regular media. Now, if you watch, independent media, they're the ones to watch because it's the one, I don't really watch much of anything. I get the Epic Times, and I do watch some things when I have time to see what's going on in the world so that I can bring it to you so we can make and interpret the predictions and prophecy revolved around it. So going back, these immigration protests have been happening in places like Poland and a couple other places, but now they're being formed in places like the United States. And Spirit showed me that it is Soros-backed. Of course it is. Aren't they all? Kind of like BLM, who just did their taxes $80 million. Right? They all live in mansions, and none of that money went to help a single soul. Same exact thing. And most of that money probably came from the Soros cult. So, going back to this group, and I was just thinking too, because months ago, Spirit showed us that new movements would come, like Occupy Wall Street, big movements like that. So is this a big movement that's forming? If not, keep our eyes tight, because something's forming. A lot of stuff's forming. According to Spirit, again, this Soros-backed group is gathering together, and they're going to use this as a way to bring, again, more division. Not only that, I said this not long ago, but Spirit reminded me today that another incident, kind of like the George Floyd incident, for example, is also going to bring about more issues like we had back in 2020. So most of this may occur in 2024, not necessarily this year. But I feel like it's igniting this year. So it's launching now in some form or another. And Spirit also showed me that this is a part of a very evil, demised plan to purposely break apart America and to separate people, of course. It's all about separation. And instead, here's my suggestion, and Spirit's suggestion is, more than anything, we need to stay strong. We need to be absolutely positively stand against such garbage and hatred and division. We are the only ones, friends. You and I and all of us together are the only ones can change this and shift this. And the only ones and the only way that we can stop this and stop their agenda is to do so by coming together very strongly and holding our ground without hatred and without being bigots and everything else that we got going on in this world. That is the only way that we are going to win this. It's also, if we don't do this soon, and here in the United States, we're going to end up losing our country and our freedoms within the next 3 years. So between now and 2026. And I don't know about you, but I love where I live. I don't love the way all things are done in this world or this country, but who does? We need to fix things. And we can do that together. I don't know if we could fix what's happening at the Bermuda Triangle. But something's happening there. And according to TikTokers, they say they have solved the mystery, which was all just a ploy to get people to watch it, I guess. There's no mystery. It's still a mystery, friends. It's still a mystery is what I'm going to tell you. But I'm going to show you this here video clip in a second. So basically what it was this people are convinced that they have, the articles that they have out there. People are convinced TikTok solved the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. So, also known as the Devil's Triangle, by the way, if you didn't know that. There is a long-standing urban legend about the vague area of the North Atlantic Ocean where several aircraft and ships disappeared. Several. More like a lot. Like a lot. They're not telling you that. Not just several. A lot. Like for decades. So, yeah, whatever. So, Spirit shows me that what's underneath the Bermuda Triangle is similar. Similar, not the same, but similar to what is beneath the mesa at Skinwalker Ranch. Similar to what exists here in Arizona at the Bradshaw Ranch. So it's all similar, and it goes back to technology that goes back to, of course, the ancient period of Lemuria, Atlantis, and Mu. And that may have actually been part of where Lemuria was, but now is underwater. But that's what's really happening here. But let me show you what this TikToker, Miguel Gonzalez, posted a video of him scrolling through Google Maps. And as you see here, he scrolls through the maps on Google. In Bermuda, he went into Bermuda. And I don't know, to me, it just seems so convenient that you just seem to, I'm not going to show you the whole video, just a small clip of it. But it seemed awful convenient that he looked like he knew exactly where he was going. That's what I say. And yeah, this is what he got. A picture of a UFO. Like we haven't seen them before. And how easy it is to manipulate things, especially in photographs on TikTok. Just saying. I would rule this out as a really good, very well orchestrated video, if you know what I mean. That's what I get from that. Recently, now someone commented recently that a plane went down in the Bermuda Triangle. I looked high and low to try to find whether there was a plane in the Bermuda's Devil's Triangle, which I predicted it, and I believe my channeled predictions. However, I could not find any evidence of such an event occurring. So, and if you want to know what I said about Bermuda Triangle, go back to my channeling video. It's getting warmer here. I think I turned the air off. I did. Moving right along, friends. To the church, the Catholic Church, to be specific. Because I've been talking quite a bit about the church, and I'm not the only one, and specifically the Catholic Church, not Christianity. Well, they're all Christian, but not Christian churches, but the Catholic Church, the Vatican, that whole little mess right there. And I remind you all, in case you were wondering, I was baptized Catholic. Just saying. Just saying. So you'll recall in my vision, I had that vision of the demon busting through the walls of the Vatican. Remember that? And I did some more digging with the spirits to get more interpretation of this. And this is what I believe, because of information I got yesterday, along with remembering that vision of the demon breaking out. So I have more clarity. But I also said, I'm going to go back to Pope Benedict, because when Pope Benedict was the Pope, I was doing predictions. I know that was a long time ago, but I said that he would be pushed out and forced out, and that the Pope that comes after him would be the final Pope. And people told me I was crazy. He ain't going nowhere. He just became the Pope. He hasn't been Pope that long. And what happened? Exactly. So here's the other thing. We have Pope Francis now. And what I got, the clarity I got from Spirit, was that the next pope, as I said way back, would actually be the complete takedown of the Catholic Church. Remember, the globalists, they want a world religion. And, they don't want you worshiping Jesus. They want you worshiping their demon gods. That's what they want. And they want you worshiping them more than anything. Think about the pharaohs. People worship the pharaohs as if they were gods. Well, that's how these globalists are. They want you to worship them like they're gods while you slave over them and wait on them hand and foot. Oh, hell no. I'd go out shooting first. No way. So, going back to this, my vision of this demon has many interpretations within one vision, actually. Starting with something evil, of course, something evil, breaking out from the church, whatever that may be. It could be metaphoric. It could be energetic, like something evil is being held beneath the dungeons of the Vatican being released, for example. It's potentially and very possible, right? But I'm going to say that some type of evil truth, some type of huge scandal is going to come from behind the Vatican walls. I didn't look at it that way at first. But what's a demon want to do? What's the devil want to do? Destroy Jesus, destroy the church. And they've been working hard on destroying the Catholic Church for decades now. It was too late 30 years ago to stop it. It might have been too late 50 years ago to stop it. Remember, the devil's very, very deceptive. Destroy it, right? So in order to destroy it, some type of scandal. It might not even be a real scandal either. It could be a lie. Some kind of huge scandal, something so big, friends, and so very well orchestrated, again, for decades. They've been planning it. Something so big and well orchestrated to sink the church completely. And Spirit did warn me that this is so orchestrated in order to bring about the globalists and the Freemasons' one world religion. Which we know we're heading in that, they're pushing it already with their smart cities and all the other BS that they're feeding us. When this comes, and I know it will, and I'm sure it will, I'm not sure when, but sooner or later, much sooner than later actually, Spirit also showed me that there'd be some type of lethal outbreak in Italy right at around the same time period. And this could be something like Ebola or something similar to that, or something completely new. And again, I don't feel like that's happening like right away within a couple months. Could be within a few years, playing out over a few year period. It's not all going to destroy it. The church ain't going to sink in one hit. It's going to be many hits to the church that makes it sink. The Vatican Church, that aspect. Because you're not going to stop Jesus. You're not going to stop Christianity. You can try to blow up churches all you want. You're not going to stop it. Good wins. The Lord wins. Always. Never forget that. So no matter what demonic evil stuff they're pushing out in front of our faces, including these drinks now, that you can actually, beans, we're talking about demons. Let me jump to that real quick. I have to find it because I forget where I put it. Unbelievable. I totally forgot to bring this up for you. I wanted to show you footage, but now we don't need to play that footage anyway. There's a drink. I can't find the name of it. That they actually have alleged, Satanists or whatever come in to their factory to infuse this drink with demons. I can't find it now. Damn. I thought I had a link in a video. I'm not going to show the video because we don't need to see that person doing their evil. I think it might be called Demon Drink. I forget the name of it now. I thought I put the name down and I didn't. Demon Energy. I think it might be called Demon Energy. No, that's not it. Darn, I can't think of the name of it. We don't need to promote it anyway. But they do have ones that are called Demon Energy, for example. But there's one particular one where they are actually literally advertising and promoting the fact that they are actually, invoking demons for this drink. Which is pretty sick, pretty demented. Especially kids are so naive that be like, oh, let me go drink it. Not realizing playing with a Ouija board that instantly you have an attachment. It takes you down. I don't trust them. What else are they putting in? And of course it's in an energy drink, friends. Of course it's an energy drink. I think it is called Demon Energy. I can't find it. I'm not going to waste time looking for it. But I thought I'd bring that up to you because I thought it was quite disturbing that something like that is now being put in front of our kids' faces. It's very disturbing. You should be disturbed as well as I am. Let's move on to the economy. Now, check out this video from an African leader and his recent warning about the economy and paper money. Check this out real quick.
For the people who work numbers, I am giving you free advice that those of you who are holding dollars, you surely might go into losses. You better do what you must do, because this market is going to be different in a couple of weeks.
Does he know something?
Obviously, this gentleman knows something a lot more than the rest of us and a lot more than what he's actually telling us. So why would he warn everybody about money? Perhaps he's very psychic and intuitive. Maybe he has inside knowledge and wisdom. Maybe it's both. But even though he's speaking to the people of his country in Africa, he's actually, in reality, speaking to all of us about money and the economy. It's exactly what he's saying, and it's kind of crazy. Again, they're telling us right in our faces, they're going to do away with paper money. It's not going to exist. And before they do that, they're going to destroy it. There's going to be a 30% drop in the worth of the dollar here in the United States very soon, and that's going to drop down to almost nothing by the time we get to 2024. They will initiate eventually, so people aren't freaking out too much. But in the United States, they will initiate something, that'll come out. But remember what Spirit showed us backed by gold a long time ago. And the whole 8 vibration being revolved around the money that would be the positive one. Right now, their initiative is I'm all about physical money. I want it in my hands. I do not want your digital crap, because when a sun flare comes and knocks everything out, we'll be broke again, right? Kill the economy, take away paper money, make it digital. Sun flare takes everything out, and then we become broke again. Does it make any sense? No, not at all. Save your pennies, save your coins, save your silver, gold, and platinum, and anything else. But more than anything, folks, the most important thing you should be worried about is making sure that you have enough food, water, supplies, and a way of getting to safety if you need to quickly. That's what you need to be focused on. Because money ain't going to do you any good. Money's not going to do you any good, but if you have food, everything collapses. Think about that. If everything collapses, money ain't going to do you any good anyway. People are going to just take what they want and steal what they want. And you're going to have to protect you and your family. And the only way you're going to survive is having food and protection, right? How are you going to do that for you and your family? That's what you should be just considering. So that when we get to that point, you won't be worried. You'll be sitting in your home, safe with food, protected, and so forth. While others are on the street acting like crazy people, like they just released a whole bunch of people from the zoo. Because that's what it's going to look like. The streets of cities are going to look like zoos of people running around like crazy. Not for years to come. Again, don't panic. But we're on the edge of that. This is on our doorstep, friends. We see it. Speaking of seeing it, in Lahaina, people are now reporting that they are getting sick from the tainted waters that were given to them by the people from FEMA, of course. Yo, these globalists are sick psychopaths, friends. Sick. They are just not right in the head. And they want to shut down truth. And of course, they want, they want to come in and grab all that land because we know that's what it is. Did you see about the glue stuff that they put in the waters? What the hell is that, friends? Like, what is that? God told me, Spirit told me today that God shall punish the evildoers. That's what Spirit said. I'm like, when? I didn't get an answer. All I heard was God will punish the evildoers. I'm like, when? Like, hello, when? Like, when? Like today? Like yesterday and today? Please? I wish good on everybody, but anyway, I have more about Lahaina, but I don't think I'm going to cover that today because we're way over the hour, so I'm going to have to save that for later. But I did want to say, you've got mail. I know that there are 2 letters down there in my mailbox that I have not been able to get because I haven't been into town, so I will get to those soon. I don't know if they're birthday cards or what they may be, but I will be there soon. But I did get this thank you so much card, for starters, from Keith. Where was he at? To Spiritman. My last name is E-L, by the way, not L-E. It's been a problem my whole life. Even teachers used to tell me, you spell your name wrong. I'm like, I think I know how to spell my name. You can't help it. It's just your nature to be kind and generous. And so I am grateful. Thank you, Keith. And Keith is creative and made this very creative mobile device that I will clip and find a place after I program and ceremony. Thank you, Keith. That was very kind of you. And I know you put a lot of energy and a lot of thought into making this handmade. I love handmade stuff and I am so grateful. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to you too. All my other fellow Virgos and soon to be Libras. Happy birthday. Don't forget Thursday, friends. I'm pretty sure Thursday, if not Friday, but I should have it done by Thursday. I am done the whole audio recording and video recording. I just have to edit in all the graphics for my next video that I've been working on for weeks. I've done tons of research. I put together all the puzzle pieces for a time period on this planet that you're going to want to be aware of. Not only that, I put together all the scientific evidence, all the prophecies, all of it. It's wild. I mean, it's an hour long. I could have made it 2 hours. I had to stop because I just spent so much time. You're going to want to not miss that. So don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Thank you all for the contributions that you were so kind to bring to me today. I couldn't do this without you. I am forever grateful. And I hope that your day, you celebrate the rest of this day and celebrate each and every day. I will see you in the future, actually in 2 days, so don't miss out. Until then, the energy shift's almost over, friends, so just sweat it out. 2 more days. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Remember, this too shall pass. And until it passes, remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Why? Because you're freaking awesome. Celebrate your love, celebrate your life, and push that love out to everybody else because we need it in this world. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Much love.